What is up, folks? It is Friday. That means it's time for Coop's Fantasy Football Fiasco. On Monday, we break everything down. That's a solo show, psychotic 1 hour. On Friday is the fun show. That's where we bring in a guest. And today, this guest, one of my very favorites, one of the first people to invite me onto their show in this space, a legend in my eyes. Because, when I first started, I had my mic sitting on an ironing board. Like I had no clue what I was doing. I was just like chatting it up. Anyone said, have me on, I came on. But this guy took me under his wing, brought me in. Now I'm bringing him on my show to help break down the slate for the most important week in fantasy football, fantasy championship week. My guy, Andrew Hall. Let's bring him on right now, Tony. Andrew, how we doing, brother?
Doing great. Thanks so much for the kind words. And yeah, you were one of my favorites back in the day. And I was like, I got to get this guy on Junkies. Like I got to talk to him about tight ends and about dynasty theory and all the bigger stuff. So yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I love going on the Dynasty Junkies because it's such like a deep cut crew that they get it, right? They get when we get into the real nerdy stuff and talk about like the deep cut guys. Like when I bring up Stone Smart, people know who that is. You know what I mean? So I love those shows, and that's Fantasy Alarm too. Like our guys are deep in it, deep in the DFS, multi-sport, a lot of them. So, but yeah. Here's the gist. If you haven't seen the show, what we do is we go through. We're going to answer pretty much. If anyone has a question, we're just going to answer it because today it's fantasy championship, so that's going to take precedent, right? But as a background, we're going to go through each game. I'll ask you if there's any bets you like. We'll talk about the players that may or may not play. Tough decisions. Halfway through, we make an FFPC team. If you're not set up, go to myffpc.com. Use promo code Coop. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. I love that site, and their best contest is coming up soon, the playoff challenge. So the way they have it set up is there's no salaries, none of that stuff. What you do is you can pick any player you want, but you can't pick two players from the same team, which the weekly one, it gets crazy. Because you can pick like anybody. My dog Luva is getting wild just thinking about it. And the playoff one, though, the playoff one's crazy because it's the playoff teams, and you have to kind of map things out. You can't pick two players from the same team there. So it gets pretty wild. So we'll do that at the halfway point. But I have to tell you, all we have yet to ever get through the entire slate on this show.
You know what? I would be shocked if we could do all of this in an hour, but I am here. We'll go quick. We'll hit him with the highlights and move on. I'm going to try.
Well, we'll see. Toronto Dave, Albert, one of you guys set the over-under. TD's been pretty good at setting the over-unders. The record for most games we've gotten through is 8. And there's like 15 games. The lowest is with Justin Boone, we got through 4.
We might have a lot of questions too, to be honest.
We might have a lot of questions
so that helps the over-under.
So get your questions in. It does us a favor if you can throw your questions in when we're talking about the particular games. But beyond that, it is what it is. Any quick thoughts on Thursday night football before we get into it? I mean, everyone was saying under. I was saying under. I was saying try to fade these guys. That turned out to be wrong. The over-under was set at like 33.5, and the Browns hit that in the first half alone. Yeah. So pretty wild.
That was wild. I was actually, it was one of those games that felt like it was so obvious to be under that it had to be over. You know what I mean? Like when you're looking at the line, you're like, that's a low line. Like no Amari Cooper, like, man, that means it's going to all go on Joe Flacco's shoulders. Like this guy was retired, like there's no way. And then your head I know mine does this when I'm betting too. Sometimes I'll be like, I'm going to bet the other way because I just don't trust this. Like I don't trust myself. The logic is too logical. And I just don't think I it. And so,
if everyone's thinking it, sometimes you got to fade it. And Joe, RIP Joe dropped Flacco before the game. I mean, dude, you couldn't start. That's just a tough play. Toronto Dave's setting the over-under at 6.5 games.
I like it.
I think we might be able to do it. I think that's a good number.
That's a good over-under.
Primetime Z with a question real quick says, start 2 of Etienne, Bijan, Kamara. Folks, definitely let us know, especially this week. Full PPR, half PPR. Give us full names. Thank you for saying Bijan instead of B-Rob because there's 2 B-Robs. There's like 10 J Williams. So give us all
Josh Etienne, right? That's what we're talking about, not Travis, but Josh Etienne.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. So there's the defensive Kamara too. I forget his first name now, but yeah. Okay, so 2 of these guys, Etienne, Bijan, Kamara. What do you got?
I just can't trust Bijan in the championships, man. I would love to, and it's not even Bijan as much as Arthur Smith. So I probably go Etienne and Kamara here. I just feel like they're going to get a lot of ball. They're going to get a lot of volume, and that actually comes in real handy in almost every league, whether you're PPR or not. Getting the ball is really what you need, and Bijan doesn't always do that. He could blow up. I would be fine with him blowing up on my bench, but I can't take a dud in my lineup. So I go the other 2.
Absolutely, man. I'm with you on that. That's how I have it ranked. Britt, what's up? Thanks for popping in. All right, let's get into it here. First game is a Monday Night Football's. What is it? What do they do with that? Because it's Monday Night Football on Saturday night, so it's like we have all the Monday night graphics because they're they did that on a Tuesday once where they had like Sunday Night Football on
a Tuesday because it was during COVID or something, right? They had to like delay a game or something like that. Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
So we waited all Saturday for Monday night. It's the Lions at Cowboys, 4.5-point spread. Over under is 52.5. That number moved in favor of the Lions. So it opened at 6. Now it's at 4.5. Is any bet there? Are you getting in on this one?
I'm definitely looking at Lions to maybe even outright win this. The Cowboys have been so over just everywhere, just over the board. Everything is just you don't know what you're going to get with this team. Right. We saw them, flat out dominate some teams and then just kind of come up with a goose egg against Miami. Like I don't know what to believe of this team. Are they legit or not? And I think most Cowboy fans would agree with me. So I would take the points in the Lions on this one. And then over under a 52.5 right now looks like that's a high scoring game. I won a lot of fantasy players in this matchup too. Also, and we talk about this a lot in Junkies, but I want to start the players earlier in the week because I don't want to have to deal with the last minute out and be like, I should have started someone from that game yesterday, from like, Jerome Ford or I don't know, Joe Flacco we were talking about, right? Like I'd rather take the points. And I think this is a terrific high point game on a Saturday, Monday, but it's all good. Yeah, it's all good to go.
Yeah, I think it's a great one because 52.5, man, that's great for fantasy football. So Laporta, a little bit of concern, of course. The thing that people don't realize, and I try and make people aware, is that the reason he struggled is actually pretty specific. Last 2 weeks, he's been asked to pass block on 7 and 8 pass plays, something he has not done all year. And with the Cowboys pass rush, there is some concern there. But I mean, I feel like you just got to, unless you have both Laporta and McBride or Laporta and Kelsey, you just start Laporta, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have Laporta and Kelsey in one league. It's a contract league, and I was just like kind of dominating all season because they both ended up being great, which I didn't expect Laporta to be that good, to be honest. Right. I don't think anybody really expected him to be what he ended up. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that there is a version of this. There's a story we can tell ourselves that Laporta struggles, right? That he's going to be asked to do a lot of blocking. The Lions don't need the win as much as the Cowboys do, so I could see the Lions maybe not sitting their studs yet, but not playing full on and like kind of not showing their cards to the Cowboys who they might see in the playoffs, right? So there is some logic in like some of that narrative that you could build where Laporta is not that great, but I can't even imagine sitting him. Like that makes zero sense to me. Like he's just too good. I think that offense really runs through him in a lot of the games. We've seen him put up some duds too. Don't get me wrong. He's not a consistent 20-point getter. He gets, 4 catches for 30 yards sometimes. But that high risk is totally worth that high reward in my book. So yeah, I'm starting Laporta everywhere I can. And if he doesn't do great, I mean, that's different to me than the Bijan stuff I was just saying. Laporta's a stud. Bijan's not, at least not right now, right?
Exactly, yeah, because they want to use him the right way, right. And he's going to be fine. So with Jonathan Hankins likely out again, Britt, I know you're a Cowboys fan, Jack, you as well. Let me know what you guys are seeing on that. I'm seeing did not practice again, and they've been looking for other solutions there. So that makes Gibbs and Monty both startable in my book. On the other side, Rico Dowdle out. Tony Pollard has struggled in the red zone. Where are you ranking Pollard? Because all year long, everyone's just kind of throwing him in the RB1 category. Is he still an RB1 for you? Or is he more like RB2 now?
Sadly, he's not. I mean, I had him as a keeper in one of my leagues, and I was very excited about it, like 7th or 8th round, something like that. I was like, heck yeah, that's a great value. But I've been really disappointed and just underwhelmed with Pollard all season. Brutal. I think everybody has. Luckily, I didn't have to spend a top 2 pick on him or something, but I still, as a keeper, I wish I'd kept someone else at this point. Yeah. But that being said, I do think that if Dowdle's out and they're leaning on Deuce Vaughn, and I think the Cowboys need to win this game, like I said before, there is a chance that they put the ball in the hands of the guys that can do it. And I still think that's Pollard. I just don't know how much volume they're going to give him because, again, it's very possible these two teams face each other again in the playoffs. And so maybe there's some logic of like, well, let's not give everybody let's not give all of our cards away. Let's not give all of our answers. And maybe they save, in a weird way, save Pollard for the playoffs. But right. I think it's kind of a crapshoot. The narratives can be built either way, which I don't think makes either one right. If that makes sense.
They've been very sneaky with the tight ends in that range, so they don't have to run him up against the brick wall. I saw a stat that on 15 goal line carries, he only has 2 touchdowns. So could see some Ferguson, Schoonmaker.
I want to say this too, though, real quick, though. I think on this, whatever happens this game, if they do play each other again, will be the exact opposite. That's kind of where my head goes. So if Pollard does well here, I'm not betting on him on any playoff leagues that they play each other again, because I just feel like these two teams are destined to meet again. I just have the vibe. So yeah, if Pollard does well, I'm not banking on him to do well again.
Yeah, then they've had some controversial playoff matchups in the past. Some accusations of the referees maybe
Oh,
siding with America's team at times, and the Cowboys have been on the wrong side of that as well. So that would be a great playoff matchup. Hopefully, it's a good game this week. Last question on this game. CeeDee Lamb, obviously super mega star. The props for him are set at like 98.5 yards. So
yeah.
you got to lock that kind of lineup. But Brandon Cooks, what's his usability like for you? Is he a guy you're considering wide receiver 3 in a matchup like this, or you trying not to start him?
I mean, if I have to, sure, just because of the point totals, right? I mean, if there's going to be 52 points as a projected over under, and that means there are people out there that think it could be higher, right? This could be
Right.
one of those games like we saw on Thursday, right? Where it's, a big blowout kind of first half and everybody just kind of goes nuts, right? It is Monday Night Football on Saturday night. It's still a primetime game. It's an island game. I think a lot of times teams stand up and do a little bit better on that. Brandon Cooks is one of those guys that is about as high risk, high reward as you can get too. So if I have no other options and I'm kind of looking at my wide receivers, which we'll get into some of these other guys, but guys that are out now, like Marquise Brown and Jalen Waddle, these other guys, like I might be having to start Brandon Cooks, and I don't hate it. I wouldn't choose it, but I don't mind leaning on it as a wide receiver 3 flex option in the right situation. Yeah.
Easy in the chat prime time. Z, we did answer your question. Maybe you stepped away, maybe hitting the
Maybe.
ball real quick, but we answered that question earlier. It was ETN, Bijan, and Kamara. We said
Etienne and Kamara.
ETN and Kamara. Yeah. Got one more question there before we move on. Next game. Full PPR, Bijan, David Montgomery, Joe Mixon, Jordan Addison are in. CH Lockett and Demarcus Robinson on the bench. If Addison's out, is CH the play here with Pacheco out? I mean, if Pacheco's out, it's definitely CH. So the question to me is, if Pacheco plays, do you start CH anyway, or do you go Lockett or Robinson? Hall?
Man, that's a tough one. I really like.
I don't
I
want.
really
I don't even know if I would start Jordan Addison over Lockett in
Well, I was
general.
just going to say, like, I really like Lockett this week. Like, he's
Right.
one of those players that I think could dominate right now. And again, if Pacheco is in, I'm going Lockett over Addison. If Pacheco's out, I'm going CEH over Addison, just because Addison
Right.
has and again, Jaron Hall now is starting for Minnesota. Like, that
saying.
worries me on a number of ways. So I want to avoid that offense if I can, even with Hawkinson out and all the way. I'm kind of trying to wipe my hands of that entire Minnesota offense, except for Jefferson maybe, but that's about it. And even Jefferson, I'm not exactly like, thrilled to start this week. But
Right.
yeah, I'd probably go Lockett, CEH, Addison if I had to rank them, with Pacheco being the kind of the flip flop on the wall there.
That's where I'm at too. All right. 1:00, New Year's Eve, Dolphins, Ravens, 3.5 point spread, 46.5 point over under. Who do you think wins this game? Just outright.
Ooh, outright. I think the Ravens still come away with the win, partially because of that Waddle being out, which we just I think they broke today. I saw some things were saying Waddle's definitely ruled out and all this, which it is what it is. This is the fantasy playoffs. This is the fantasy championship. You're going to have injuries that come up like this later in the season. So hopefully you've got a backup, maybe like Brandon Cooks, like we just mentioned. But with Waddle being out, that kind of puts a lot of the attention on Tyreek, who's not 100% himself. You've got Mostert and Achan that I think both could be, hit or miss kind of plays and things like that. So it makes me a little nervous on that side. Whereas the Ravens, with Lamar Jackson just kind of balling out right now, I just think the Ravens are going to win this. The line is 3.5. I think that's pretty accurate for a home team. I think it is going to be a close game, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Ravens win by 3 or 4 or 5, somewhere in that range. So yeah, I'm agreeing with the line on this one.
Yeah, that's why I don't like betting it. I don't like betting
Same.
it, but I think the
Not
Ravens
betting
win
it.
because I think the line's right. Waddle is expected not to play. I think he's already been ruled out. Tyreek's a little banged up. Cedric Wilson. So I like to put guys into 4 categories. You've got at the very top FFPC plays, which are studs of studs. Then you've got redraft plays. Then you've got dynasty stashes, and then at the very bottom, DFS dart throws.
DFS darlings, yes.
Yeah. So Cedric Wilson, what category are you throwing him in?
He's definitely a DFS darling for me this week.
It's
He's
actually,
one of those
it's
guys,
actually DFS. DFS goes here, and then dynasty stashes.
and dynasties at the
below
bottom. That makes sense, yeah. Because Cedric
Right.
Wilson might be on dynasty waivers. I think I saw him get added in a couple places today, but I'm not sure I'm starting him in dynasty. I don't feel right with that unless, again, I'm super desperate. But in DFS, where you could lean on studs and duds, he's a perfect dud play that could get a ton of points. So
Exactly.
yeah, I'm a big fan of him in DFS this week. Again, with Waddle being officially out and Tyreek maybe getting injured. Was it like 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? He got an ankle injury and missed some of that game. I don't want to see that happen here. But if the Ravens get out to a 21-0 lead, I could totally see the Dolphins just being like, no, Tyreek, just sit down. Let's rest you. We got a playoff run here. Let's not get crazy, right? So I don't know. I just think the narratives line up for Cedric Wilson to potentially have, 8 catches, 125 yards, and 2 touchdowns out of nowhere, and nobody's starting him except DFS.
He's been the insurance policy all year, right?
Yep.
Like, so Braxton, when everyone's healthy, Braxton Berrios plays more than Wilson in the slot. So people thought like, oh, he would play more, but the reality is he's the backup for both Waddle and Hill, making him a valuable player. So I don't mind him in DFS. I'm not going to start him in championships. On the other side, Isaiah Likely, I'm higher than most on him. What are your feelings on Likely?
Well, you're a tight end guru, right? You're the guy that knows tight ends more than most. So I tend to lean on you for your tight end analysis. So if you like Likely, I love Likely. Let's put it out.
Well, that was just that was a test. I was just checking with you. So Likely, we're in on Likely. It's a good matchup for him. Is this going to be a Gus Edwards game or a Justice Hill game? Basically, I'm
going to go with neither. I guess. Like I don't think either one of them break 50 yards. I don't think this team is going to run the ball as much as they should, and I think that what that's going to mean is it's going to be the week where Lamar Jackson gets to be quarterbacking, right? That's what everybody's talking about on Twitter. Yeah. I think he's going to show what quarterback he is, and I think you're going to see Lamar run the ball a lot more than the running backs. Just my own personal vibe. There's nothing to back that up other than pure speculation, but I'm not betting on really much of this game at all, other than potentially an over-under. I'm betting on the under of 46 because, again, with Waddle missing and Tyreek, like we just mentioned, there's a chance this is a 28-10 kind of game. I don't know if I'm going to see a ton of points. I don't know if Dolphins don't get out early. We might not see a lot of rushing on their end. So this game is just kind of messy all across for me. So I'm probably betting the under and staying away from the rest.
Yeah. Let me ask one name, no analysis. If Zay Flowers doesn't play, which wide receiver do you like best for the Ravens?
That's my answer. Yeah. I honestly I don't know how to answer that question because honestly, they're all just so I don't want anybody.
You got to pick one. You got to pick one.
I mean, honestly,
one name.
Is Odell still playing? You know what I mean?
Odell,
can I put Odell in there? I guess.
Odell honestly, it is. All right.
I worry though. I don't want to give out analysis, but I worry though that if Zay's out, this is just all Jackson. That's all I'm saying.
Dino, we talked about that with Paul. Like with Rico out, that just makes it. Instead of giving it to Pollard and having get it stuffed and go into Rico, they'll just keep giving it to Pollard, or they'll throw it to. They'll just keep getting stuffed. Yeah. Joe wants to know. PPR, Flex CEH, Higgins, or Zamir White. We're going to get to Higgins here. Yeah. With Higgins, with all three of these players, though, I'm going to throw it to you with this caveat. Let's say Pacheco's out, Josh Jacobs is out, and L'Jarius Sneed is out, who the Chiefs used last week to shut down Devontae Adams. If conditions are perfect for all three of these players, who do you put in the flex?
I really lean on Higgins. I think that this team is the Bengals. I'm a Bengals fan. If you're watching live, right? Like I've always been a Bengals fan. I'm not trying to hide that fact. I'm a Joe Burrow fan. I'm a Jamar Chase fan. I'm a T Higgins fan, right? Yeah. So I think that Higgins is going to be the guy that this offense funnels through. And in almost every case, I want the funnel. I want the person who's got the best chance to get the ball. Yeah, sure. You're going to see Andre Yoshevich. You're going to see Charlie Jones. You're going to see Trent Irwin. They're going to get their passes. Tyler Boyd, right? He's going to maybe catch a touchdown or something. I'm leaning on Higgins, though, myself. And again, I think if Jacobs is out, I like Zamir White a lot, but that running game still isn't. I mean, again, he did dominate last week, right? But that is so hit and miss. I don't know if I could trust it. And I think I could trust Higgins more than the other two.
Yeah. Zamir White or CEH, real quick. One name.
Of the two, Zamir White. Yeah. I like Zamir White over CEH. Unless, again, if Pacheco's out, I guess it gets kind of fishy, but I'm
switching mine because Bob White, I asked Bob Harris that. He said the same thing. I asked John Pemba. He's on White, so I'm switching mine over. Steve, what's up, dude? Thanks for joining us. All right, let's get back to a game here, and then we'll jump back in the chat, hit on these questions. Don't worry, we're going to get to the questions. We just want to make sure we cover some of these games. Patriots at Bills, 14-point spread, 40.5 point over-under. There's no one should bet that. As a Patriots fan, don't try to cap that. Don't try to – the Patriots problem, they could easily cover. They've beat the Bills earlier this year, but you don't want to be betting on that. The questions I have are on the Patriots offense. Do you start Zeke? Do you start Pop Douglas?
I would rather not start Zeke. I would really hope that I have better options. But
he's been so good lately, though.
I know, but I just feel like the wheels are about to come off that train, and it could happen at any minute. Bill's defense is stout, and honestly, like that team, in my opinion, anyway, the Patriots are looking to the future, and I think they're going to try to get Pop Douglas some reps. I think Douglas I'm in on. I like Douglas a lot. Right. I just dropped him in redraft to pick up quarterbacks to block my opponent, but that's different, right? Like I would start him if I had to. But no, I don't want to start Zeke if I can avoid it. I'd really rather not, but Douglas I like.
He started the year playing less than 50% of the snaps, right? This first Bills game in week 7 was the first time he played more than half the snaps, played 62%. And in every game he's played since then, he's missed a couple with injury. He's played 60 to 70% of the snaps, right? So now he's virtually, as full-time as you get as a Patriot. These are the targets for Pop Douglas. 6, 7, 7, 9, 9, 5, 8. And along the way, accumulated 4 carries. So Pop Douglas, to me, especially in full PPR, is a guy that I look around and there are some matchups I don't like that I'm considering putting in some real lineups. So definitely a DFS play.
Well, and
Uh,
I think it's interesting too. Douglas is going to overtake Kendrick Bourne as the number one receiver for fantasy this week. I mean, almost guaranteed. Kendrick Bourne obviously on IR, but Bourne was their guy, and Douglas has
right.
come on strong and is going to be their number one option. I wouldn't be shocked if he's the number one option going into next season too. I just don't see it at a Tyquan
Real.
Thornton. I doubt they bring back Juju and Devontae and all these other older guys. I think
No.
they got to start rebuilding, and they're going to get out of Bill Belichick at some point. So I'm right there with you on all of that.
Taekwon has a very important real life football role, which is to take the top off defenses. And guys get paid a lot of money to do that, but it doesn't, and just hitting on one of those every once in a while is doing your job. But like those guys are not great for fantasy.
No.
On the Bills side, Stephon Diggs, man, he has been rough lately. Last time against the Pats, I think it was 6 catches for 58 and a touchdown. What's your trust level on Diggs? I've had some questions. Most cases you're starting him, but I've had some questions where I had to sit and think, like, am I going to bench Stephon Diggs?
I can't bench Stephon Diggs. Like,
Either.
it's not the name value. It's the fact that he could get 10 catches. It's the fact that he could get 200 yards. Like, that ceiling is still there. And I think too, in a game like this, it's a divisional game. It's a very emotional game. All of this, it's at the
Right.
Bills, which I think helps. They're going to have a big lead, I'm guessing, for most of the game. That's exactly when you get it right with Diggs. I think the running game is going to be solid for the Bills too. Don't get me wrong, but I think this is the kind of game that you could, I don't want to say easily, but you could lean on Diggs a little bit more on an offensive side, and I think that's going to be good for us in fantasy. So again, unless you have a ton of crazy options like AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, and T Higgins, then maybe I'm benching Diggs. But like even that feels weird. Like that's brutal.
The Pats have been one of the best teams in DVOA against the run, and I think this is a game where you see a lot of dink and dunk, Diggs, James Cook, Kincaid. And that's why I said, make sure you tell us if it's PPR, half PPR.
Yeah.
A guy like James Cook, for me, I have him much higher in my full PPR rankings than my standard rankings because he in the past has carved up the Patriots with receptions, but Patriots are tough to run on. So enough about this game. This game stinks. Chat, we got some questions in the chat. No Cap Sol wants to know, and this is a legitimately difficult question. Demarcus Robinson, who is the third fiddle, but's been on a touchdown streak, or Rashid Shaheed, who doesn't necessarily play the whole game, but has had a 20% target share in virtually every game since Michael Thomas went down. So full PPR, man. What do you think?
Probably go Shaheed unless I am looking for a higher floor than a ceiling. In most championships, I want ceiling. I want that ability to get 20 points out of every player, and kind of dominate. But if you're projected to win by 30 points, maybe you take Demarcus Robinson. It's full PPR. You're going to get some points there. Maybe I'm crazy here, but I think Robinson gets more catches than Shaheed, but I think Shaheed has the ability to get more yards and touchdowns. So that's kind of where I go with that ceiling on Shaheed. But that's a fun one for championship week, isn't it? Like, oh, right. Man.
Yeah. But dude, the fact that you are paying attention to the right details and you have those players is a good thing, because I see a lot of lineups where people are starting guys that, like, for instance, Adam Thielen, guys that are on the wrong side of trends. So Joe wants to know, lost Waddle has to start Noah Brown, Thielen, our guy Pop Douglas, Demarcus Robinson, or KJ Osborne. So good job piecing it together. Of that crew, you got to start one. What do you think? Full PPR.
Man, I'm tempted to go Noah Brown as long as CJ Stroud is back in there. I just think that we've seen him have some of these crazy games where he just goes ignored, and I think he's been quiet and just waiting to strike. So I kind of go Brown there, but Pop Douglas is enticing to me, like we just talked about.
It's
probably
Noah,
go Brown out of the group.
It's Noah Brown. We like Douglas as like a very safe, like cash game DFS full PPR DraftKings play, but Bob Douglas, he needs to really break off a big play to have a 100-yard game. I mean, you look at these games, he did have the 184-yard game, but it's a lot of 40, 50-yard games here. I think I would go Noah Brown because he is capable of these monster games, as we've seen. I don't know where this Noah Brown came from, but a lot of people, I see people looking at Noah Brown, they're like, oh yeah, the shiny new player Noah Brown. I'm like, dude, Noah Brown's been around.
He's been around, yeah.
He's been playing in high volume offenses too with the Cowboys. Like, I don't know, man, just kind of showed up, dude. Red Rizzle wants to know, great name, needs a QB, Stidham, Stick, or Hall. Deep situation. It's got to be super flex, right? I mean, come on.
Gotta be. Yeah. I mean, unless you're looking at, you had Mullins because he was your only option, and then you had someone else that just wasn't great. I don't know, but God, I hate to say it, but I'd probably go stick just because I
I
think that offense has the ability to get there. But that's a brutal
I think
coin
I
flip
feel
there.
like I wanted to go Stidham because Stidham did have a good game. Actually, if Cortland Sutton is out and he has not practiced all week, then you can't start Stidham. So
Well, that's kind of why I'm avoiding Denver at all the
it
way right
probably is
now.
going to be
Just
Stick.
that whole team is in disarray. I would trust Stick more because Stidham, this is his first week. It's Hall's first week. Well, Stidham's played a little, but you get my point. Like this
Right.
is his first real week with Russ benched and kind of giving him the keys that I don't think he wants. So I'm probably going Stick, but I don't like it.
Yeah. And then we're gonna go. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm gonna hit these last two, and then we'll go into we'll get back into some games. McBride over Ingram. And if DK is out, should I flex Drake London? So first question, it has to be McBride over Ingram for me. They're both awesome in full PPR. Ingram has in week 1 he got 5 targets. Since then he has not gotten fewer than 6, right? But Carolina isn't a great matchup. McBride, since he's taken over, the role from Zach Ertz, they had the one game where Clayton Tune started against the Browns, which are one of the best tight end defenses. You take that game out, he's had 7.5 receptions per game. Reception 7.7, and he's never had fewer than 5. Like this guy dialed in, man. McBride is as safe as it gets in any sort of PPR. So I am going to go McBride over him this week. And Marquise Brown just got put on IR, so they really got nobody else. And then in the flex, Drake London, Rashid Shaheed, Evan Ingram, or go Najee Harris. I'm leaning London or Ingram. What do you think?
If it's tight end premium, I'm probably lean Ingram. I feel like there's still some better chances. And you just mentioned all the PPR love that he can get. And I think that breaks the tide. But I'm with you on London too. I think that there is still some value in that tank. And they don't seem to really lean on London like they don't lean on Bijan or anything. So
Right.
you could catch lightning in a bottle. But Shaheed, I feel like is just way too much crazy. And Najee Harris, I'm almost entirely out on, which again is crazy to think. Like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I was thinking he might be the running back one. You know what I mean? Like I thought he might have
Yeah.
been one of those guys that could vie for that. And now we're almost dropping him for a third. You know what I mean? Like he's just terrible in dynasty. So yeah, I probably lean Ingram and tight end premium in London and regular PPR.
Here's what we're going to do moving forward, Hall, because we got a ton of questions. People got championships. I'm going to ask you about a game, and I'm going to say, hey, give us a one take from this game, right?
Love
And
it.
if there's any questions in the chat, we'll hit on those, and then we'll just answer questions, man, because like people
Love it.
are looking for it here, man. So Matt says, great tight end whisperer. Need help picking between Schultz and Everett. I actually don't mind Everett this week. I usually am off him, but even with Donald Parham a healthy inactive last week, he only played 70% of the snaps. I'm going to go with Schultz. I don't like the matchup for Schultz, but if CJ Stroud's playing, it's going to be Schultz. It'd be a lot closer if Donald Parham's a healthy inactive again this week, but I don't know. It's hard to determine whether that's going to happen, and they do not like using one guy every snap. And then this next question involves players from this game. So I'm going to have you answer this question, and I'm going to ask you for a hot take from this Falcons Bears game. We're not betting this game, but any take on either the Falcons or Bears side that you think is spicy or can help people out?
Well, just like we were talking about earlier with that Thursday night game, everything pointed to it being a crappy, low-scoring game. I'm betting the over on this game. I feel like this is one of those
Ooh,
dumb
okay.
games that comes out of nowhere, and I think DJ Moore blows it up. So I think DJ Moore is definitely a start for me in almost every format. Over Shaheed for sure. I just think he's more consistent. I mean, yeah, the floor is pretty low on both, right? Like if I'm
Right.
being honest, like the floor, even for the Bears, this could be a 10-3 kind of game, and I'm really regretting that bet. But the over under 37.5 is what it shows here on the sheet. Like I think there's a chance they could each score 20 points, not easily, but pretty reasonably in my head. And again, I'd be shocked if that's with Pitts or Bijan getting anything. It's probably going to be Algier, a defensive touchdown in London. You know what I mean? Like doesn't help
Right.
any of your teams that need him. But yeah, that's where I'm going with this. That crazy bet is taking the over on this one.
I don't mind. I like that, dude. And people out there, if Cole Kmet is your tight end, he has not practiced yet this week. He left last week with a knee injury. Start making other plans.
Yeah.
Brad wants to know. Shout out Brad. He's always hanging out in the chat. Brad Testament. Hey guys, big week. PPR Fields or Stroud? Big week. Certainly an understatement this week.
Yeah, this is the biggest week. There is no bigger week.
And that's a big question, Fields or Stroud. So we're talking about this the game here. And look at Brad's also a Bengals fan. He threw the Who Day in there. So
Who Day, baby. That's right. Well, I probably lean Stroud as long as he's healthy. I just think Stroud coming back, I think he's got some rookie of the year vibes to try to seal up here. And I think that team is just going to be clicking again. The Bears, as much as I just said, I'm betting the over. I don't know if that's going to be 3 touchdowns from Fields or 3 touchdowns from a mix of running backs. Like I can't trust Fields yet. And again, that team doesn't seem like they want Fields. So why do I want Fields? So yeah, I'm probably going Stroud.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of that, this next game that we're looking at, Texans and Titans, 4.5 point spread in favor of the Texans at home, 43.5 point over under. I want to get your take on one particular player, which is Derrick Henry. Like, so
Yeah.
usually he crushes his team. Last time they played, he had arguably the least efficient game, maybe of all time. Like, Derrick Henry, can you trust this guy? I mean, would you rather start in this game? Would you rather start Derrick Henry or Devin Singletary?
Well, there was actually a question I was asked, I think via DM earlier this week, and it was Derrick Henry or Tyjae Spears, and I was just like, oh, because like they're both kind of that like
I
I don't know
know.
what to do in this offense, and I would
They're
usually
split.
smash Derrick Henry, right? Especially
Right.
in December, late in the season, that's when he tends to dominate. Like he's still a machine, but this offense just doesn't look right. There's something
No.
funky going on. Obviously, Levis and Tannehill and all the question marks they've got. DeAndre Hopkins is still a beast, but I don't know if trust is the right word for Henry. More like all right, old man, let's see if you got it in you one more time for my fantasy team. Let's go. I'm not calling Derrick Henry old.
It's
More
it's
like,
never but it's never been like this where it's like it's
yeah,
always been his job. They originally wanted it to be him and Dion Lewis, right? That was supposed to
yeah.
be a split, right? And then it never happened. And then since then they never found the pass catching back. Well, they finally found one. So now we have
Mhm.
the concern that the game script goes the wrong way. So yeah, I am a little scared there. On
Well, and
the
that's where too,
Texas
like
side,
PPR is what the PPR thing was the thing too. Like Tyjae Spears could get 6 catches. That's a touchdown. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of points that Derrick Henry might not get. So it's
yeah.
messy.
I've been getting a lot of Nico Collins questions, and if he's
Mm.
healthy, which it looks like he's a full participant and going against the Titans, definitely start him, dude. Like Nico Collins, a great start this week. Let's go back to the chat. Dino Fontaine wants to know Monty or Chan in PPR. Oof, yeesh, Dino.
Ooh, yeah, that's a fun one. In PPR, I'd probably go Achan. I just think that offense is going to be a little better. Monty, I feel like is going to get again. He could get a ton of looks if they're up early or something, but I don't. I think that Lions Cowboys game is going to be a scorcher, and I just think they lean on Gibbs because he's just been the hot hand. So I'm not necessarily avoiding Monty, but I'm hopefully having a better option than Achan if I'm benching Monty. But I don't mind Achan here just because I just think he's the talented guy on that offense, and Mostert is doing terrific. Don't get me wrong, but he could break down at any minute too. So
And
that's tough.
you have to understand with the Dolphins offense. Watch these games, right? These are not Patrick Mahomes drops back and looks around and then figures out who to throw it to. These are manufactured touches in a lot of cases, right?
Hmm.
Watch Tua. He is faking handoffs and then he turns around and he's throwing it. And if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. But he is throwing that first look. In fact, he has easily the quickest release in terms of time to throw in the league among qualified passers. I was looking at it the other day and I was like, what the heck? And when you watch the games, he is just looking right away. Tyreek Hill's there or he's not. He's not holding on to the ball. So when you lose a Jalen Waddle's manufactured touches don't go to Cedric Wilson. They just use more different creative plays where this is a play that goes to Achan. This is a play that goes to Tyreek Hill. That's why
Yep.
Durham Smythe doesn't get a lot of looks because there's not a lot of backyard football where you drop back and, oh, look, Smythe is open. Like the play is either drawn up for you or it's not, and they're not drawing up plays for Smythe, and
Yeah.
they're
No
not going to
offense
draw
to
them up.
Durham Smythe, but he's
No
not
offense. He's a
Tyreek
great
Hill.
blocker.
Yeah.
He's
He's
a great
better than I'll
blocker.
ever be. Yeah. I'm not
Right.
saying
And
anything there. Yeah.
his dad is one of those guys that'll hit you up on Twitter too. Like he's like, you don't get football. I'm like, dude, I get football, right? But I play fantasy football, so like blocking doesn't do anything for me, dude. Like
I wish
there are
it
a
did.
lot.
That'd be a cool league, actually. We should figure
There
out a
would
way to
be,
get that
dude.
in some league.
Mercedes Lewis first overall, bro. Yeah, let's go, dude. Get a lot of Michael Pruitt in that league. But
PPD.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
Point per
you're
block.
gonna get more manufactured touches for Achin. That's just fact here. So Chris Sonnenberg wants to know which two should I start? Yeah, what, like 5 points for pancake blocks? Now I'm thinking about
Yeah.
that stupid league. I've actually thought about it in the past of how you could do it, and you would have to use if you use Pro Football Focus grades, you could have like a lineman and
So
kicker and punter league where it's
that's
like
all 22. Have you heard of all 22? They have a whole thing about that. Like that's actually a really good thing we can get into on a different episode here. But
yeah,
all
yeah,
22
yeah.
football, look it up if you guys are interested. They do kind of it integrates PFF grades. That's exactly what they
That's
do.
sick. Yeah, no, I'd
So
be
yeah,
down
it's
for
fun to
that.
look into. But it's
Yeah.
again, there's no real
Trent
metric for
Williams,
blocking.
Trent Williams first overall, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Which two should I start? Half PPR. Monty, Kenneth Walker, Jones of some kind, Aaron Jones, I'm guessing.
probably.
And then Jim Jacobs or Zamir White. He's got them both. So he's got that lockdown. He's gonna start two. Is there anybody
Oof,
that you look at and you're like, I mean, this is tough.
this is tough.
I
These
think
are
honestly, I'll say this. If Jacobs plays, I'll start Jacobs. And if Jacobs doesn't play, I'll start Zamir White.
I like that logic. That's kind of where I was going to go too.
Against the
Yeah, like
Colts. So
I think
that's
whoever
one.
that is one. Yeah, I think what you get one of those running backs there, and I probably go Jones. I know that
Mhm.
he's kind of getting near the end of his life cycle and all this, but I think that Green Bay offense kind of runs through him at this point. They haven't seemed to really want to use AJ Dillon at all, and
No.
Jordan Love has been hit or miss. They've got some injuries to their receiving crew. Aaron Jones is probably going to get the majority of carries. Seattle, and I just talked about Monty, like those two offenses. I don't know if I can trust it. I can trust Jones a little more, and that's kind of where I land.
Let's rapid fire clear the questions here, and then let's do an FFPC team. So Eagles against the Cardinals, Rams at Giants.
Geez, man, I usually go Eagles here, but that Giants offense is going to be a mess. So give me Aaron Donald and 7 sacks or something crazy. If you get points for sacks, that's it. Rams.
Yeah. Need 3.5 PPR. Aaron Jones, ETN, Ty Chandler, Zamir White, CEH, Javonte. So this George, our boy George here, has not left one stone unturned on the waiver wire. Good job. Good job, George. What is your opponent doing? How does he let you get Chandler, Zamir? How does he let you get all of them?
Oh, just he's sleeping at the wheel. I guess ETN's probably my first one. I just like him a lot. Zamir is probably the next one if Jacobs is out. If Jacobs plays, I'm not going Zamir, so that's kind of a caveat.
I'll say the same thing for CEH and Pacheco.
Yeah, I was going to say Pacheco's out, I go CEH. Same logic. If let's say Pacheco and Jacobs both play, and I'm probably going ETN, Jones, and Chandler. I don't like Javonte at all.
I don't like Javonte either. I like Chandler a lot.
Yeah, Chandler's a good play. I mean, even with Madison in there, he seems like he's still got the fresh legs. So.
Yeah. Doug wants to know Stroud or Carr. I like Carr a lot, but we're going to go Stroud.
Stroud for me, hands down. Yeah.
Carr in DFS, though. He's crazy cheap.
Well, that's fair because he's so
starting
cheap.
Carr in a league. Yeah. I am starting Carr in a championship, but like if I had Stroud, I'd start him. Achane or Najee?
We like Achane. Yeah, and Najee's not trash per se, but he's just not getting enough volume to make it worth it. So Achane for me.
Yeah. I like Okonkwo right now. Even if Hunter Henry's fully healthy, quote unquote, I think he's going to be on a lot of snap count. And Okonkwo has been playing really well. He's got 6 catches for 63 last week in the touchdown. His snap counts have gone way up. And this guy, like we talked about with Kittle, he can do more with less. He runs a 4.5 240. Last year, on only a 35% snap share, he had 40 plays of 40-plus yards. He had 3 of them, which led the league. So he's due for a big play. This is the week. Okonkwo could be the hero for some people.
I agree. Yep.
Will Levis or Stick? Is Will Levis going to play?
Well, if Will Levis plays, which I don't know is a certainty, I probably go Levis, but I don't like it just because
Will Levis plays. I definitely go Levis.
Yeah, I just feel like even if he plays, he might not play the whole game. There could be some like injury concerns. It just makes me nervous. But I don't trust Stick that much, right? But if Levis isn't playing, it's easily Stick.
Yeah, we said this. Achane, Bijan, Ford, and McCaffrey. Okay, so that guy doesn't need to add anybody. That's fine. He probably, if he started Ford against you, I'm sorry about that. Start 3: Monty, Walker, Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler, CEH.
Well,
I do look at Kenneth Walker.
Still. Yeah,
keep an eye on Kenneth Walker though. He has not practiced yet this week. So.
Well, I still like Aaron Jones in full PPR. I think that's probably the first one I would go with. I don't mind Walker. I'm not hating on Walker. I just feel like they're splitting carries a little there. We just talked about Ty Chandler. I really like him even in full PPR. I probably go Jones, Chandler, and CEH if Pacheco isn't playing. That caveat we keep saying. Yeah. If Pacheco is playing, I'd probably go Walker. That's probably right.
Yeah, Monty. I mean, no Jonathan Hankins means Monty's gonna be fine. The thing is, you have no bad starts here. It's like we say. Sometimes I look at these and there's no wrong answer, but there will be a right answer.
Except for Javonte, right? Where it's like, no, not Javonte.
Right, not Javonte. But the thing is, it's like there's no wrong answer, but unless they all score equally the same points, there will inevitably be a right answer. But you're in a good spot. Kyler or Carr? This one's a little closer.
Ooh, you know what? I still lean Kyler there, but I just don't like Carr much. I mean, yeah, he could have 4 touchdowns, 3 of which to Shaheed, like he did the other week, and it just like crazy stuff could happen. But I would rather trust
Derek Carr. If this team from the start of the year did not have Taysom Hill, Derek Carr would easily be a QB1.
I would agree with that.
You look at the number of touchdowns he's vultured, the touchdowns he's thrown. I mean, the touchdowns he's caught is fine because they come from Carr. But if they just didn't have that stupid guy that would go in and plays quarterback, like what if the team has another quarterback that goes in? Derek Carr has back-to-back 3-touchdown games. Ever since Taysom Hill hurt his foot, Derek Carr has been an amazing star. That's why I'm starting him in a week this week. I'm hoping Taysom goes out and has a week like he did last week. But like, you never know with Taysom Hill. He's just such a leech and that's why he bugs me. Some people love him, but he bugs me because I have to compare him to other tight ends when he's not a tight end, dude.
So, well, that's what I mean. As the tight end whisperer, you're like, no, this isn't right. I don't like this.
You're bothering me, dude. Go away.
You're bothering me.
He should know what he should be. He should be like in fantasy baseball. You've got like David Ortiz
player or something, right? Yeah, like a utility player. Yeah,
flex. Yeah, the utility. Like David Ortiz never once. He didn't play first base for the last 5 years, right? So you can only start him at utility. That's what Taysom Hill should be. You should only be able to start him at flex. Singletary or Javonte.
I just go Singletary. Again, I just don't like Javonte that much, but I think Singletary could be one of those like sneaky DFS plays too, right? Like he's not
Right.
getting a ton of attention, but he could be again, I think that offense could be up big and he gets a lot of junk time. You never know.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. All right, let's do an FFPC team quick. We're going to jump back in the chat right after. Don't worry, we're going to hit all these ones. Folks, if you're not on FFPC, you got to get set up now because their best challenge is coming. The playoff challenge is their premier product. I love playing over there because you can start anybody you want. Oh, look at Tony behind the glass pulling up the promo code. Attaboy, Tony.
Look at him.
So yeah, he's a G. So here's the deal. You can start any player you want. You just can't start two players from the same team. So no worrying about other people stacking or doing this or that like the other weekly or daily platforms. Start anybody you want. Get loaded up. They have contests of 10, 30, or 100 people. We like the 31. And with Justin Boone a couple weeks ago, we came in third place, won $100. So there you go, dude. That's money to be spent at the expo at the bar. That's the deal. If we win third, so like third and fourth get $100. Fifth, you get another entry, right? Second, you get $200. Winner gets $500. So if you and me come in third or fourth, $100, that's a bar tab for us. And anybody that throws a name in the chat that we use, shout out to our boy Anthony who threw a name in last week that we used. So he's on the bar tab if he wants to go to the expo.
Love it.
But throw some names in there. We want only the chalk of the chalk. The chalkiest chalk plays you can think of. That's what we want here. So give me one. What's a name? Like, give me an example of a name that you think is just full on chalk city this week.
Well, CMC. Like we were talking about before. Like Bingo. CMC is about as chalk as it gets. Like
that's what we want. Yeah. And folks, get set up. Use promo code Coop at MyFFPC. They'll give you $25 when you deposit 35 or more. The playoff challenge is the best one. That's the one where it's the same thing, but you can only use the player once, and it's through the entire playoff. So you kind of got to map out what you're going to do.
Like
that one's really cool. Yeah, so we're going to get Christian McCaffrey in there. Do you want to go Kyron Williams against the Giants? He's been an absolute wow.
I kind of do. Again, I think that team's going to be really like far ahead, and there's going to be a lot of junk time. I like Kyron a lot this week. Yeah.
Yeah. At tight end, I want to go Travis Kelce. People are down on him. I'm hoping the thing with Travis Kelce is like your Bengals, you lost both safeties in free agency, right? Von Bell,
and Jesse Bates.
Jesse Bates. Yeah. And they've been the Broncos and the Bengals have been bottom two pretty much all year. So we're going to get Kelce. Yeah, but it's tight end premium. So maybe we'll use another tight end. So maybe we'll use McBride or something. But yeah, chat, throw some people out there that you think are just absolute smash spots this week. We'll get them in there. And if you go to the Fantasy Football Expo, come have a soda or an iced tea or something with us. Or I'm going to have beer. I know you're going to have beer. So
damn right,
beer's on the table as well. So
love it.
Yeah. So, okay, what do we got for let's look at wide receivers. Absolute slam. Do we want to go Tua or Tyreek Hill? Because there's no Waddle.
Tyreek. See, without Waddle, I go Tyreek. If Waddle was in, I'd probably go Tua, right? If we can only pick one from the Dolphins. But yeah, I like the logic here. With Waddle out, it's Tyreek or nobody for me. So yeah, I love that.
And CeeDee Lamb or Pollard. I guess we could start Dak, but I don't want to.
I was going to say I'm tempted on Dak, but I think I go Lamb here. I think that funnels to him, and he's too good.
It's Lamb. And this is nice because I always have to go and reorder it because we want our flex guys playing later. Because the cool thing about this haul is that you can, on like Sunday night, or even Monday, if there's Monday games, not this week, but when there are, you can like tinker. Like you look and see who's in first and you pivot to the next guy. That's how we did with Justin Boone. We pivoted to Devonta Smith and switch our kicker, and that got us just the people that started different guys got kind of smoked by that. So
there isn't even a Sunday night game.
No, there's Sunday, but no Monday because there's a national championship for college ball.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So Jared Moore's in with Lamb. So you got that in there before we put him in there. And Travis says, how much salary you got left? Here's the thing, Travis. No salary.
Infinity.
That's the beauty. Infinite salary. You can make the craziest teams over here. That's why I love this format. On other formats, you have to deal with drafts and salaries and this and that. The only rule here is you can't start two players from the same team. So when we start McCaffrey, we can't start Purdy, right? But that's it. We can get wild with this. Yeah. No. This ain't no DK or whatever of those other ones, dude. Those ones are fine for what they are. This is where you go crazy and have a lot of fun. And if you really want to enjoy your Sunday, you make a monster team over here. So yeah, we can start over we want. CeeDee Lamb in. Amon-Ra St. Brown. You want to start him? We can start over we want.
I'm tempted to go Laporta over Amon-Ra in that offense just with tight end premium. But again, I understand that can be a little risky if we're going to go McBride, which I kind of agree with McBride as well. So that's 3 tight ends.
Why don't we go 3 tight ends, dude?
Risky? I don't know. I mean, again, you're the tight end guy. I feel like
let's do it. Well, I haven't done it all year. Championship week, I
Oh,
want to do it. We haven't
gotta
done
do
it.
it.
3 tight
Gotta do
end
it.
set, tight end premium, Kelsey, Laporta, McBride. Let's
Love it.
go, dude.
Yes.
Because if Amon-Ra and Laporta have similar days, then you get more points for Laporta. It's tight end
That's
premium.
right. That's right. I like
But
that.
no more tight ends. That's it for tight ends.
No more tight ends. I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most I'd want to start here. I mean, we could do something like a Kittle, but we've already got McCaffrey. I'm not going to put McCaffrey, under Kittle there.
So we have to decide like AJ Brown. We're looking at the high over under games. That's what we want. We can go AJ Brown, or we can go Jalen Hurts, or we can go Josh Allen. I mean, we can't go Purdy, and we can't start Dak. So it kind of is now Josh Allen or Hurts, in my opinion.
Well, I was thinking like we could do Lamar Jackson too, but I don't know if I want to risk it on this. I
Yeah.
personally like Hurts. I think Hurts is the way to go. I think Hurts is
Okay.
going to have a lot of those rushing touchdowns. He's done this a lot of weeks. He gets a rushing in there, and that helps a lot for QB. So, and again, I like AJ Brown, but him and Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert are all very hit or miss. So yeah, give me
Yeah.
the QB.
Mike Evans, is Marshawn Lattimore playing?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I don't know if I
Evans
wanna
has
start
actually
Mike
been
Evans.
balling out this year. I know Baker Mayfield's had a heck of a year, way better than people thought. I don't mind Mike Evans there. I think that's an interesting pick. I mean, we can't do Puka. That's right, because we did Kyron. That's right.
That's right. Yeah. So there's not really a lot of running backs where I say we have to get him in there, to be honest. So I think I'm honestly.
Well, I was
all
going to say
set.
like maybe Rashad White instead of Evans if we're going to pick a Buccaneer, but because I don't know if I can trust White. I trust Evans more, so I probably lean Evans if we're going to pick any Buccaneer.
Yeah, let's go with Mike Evans, and
I like
then
it.
one more spot that we got to do kicker and defense. We can do Justin Jefferson, but with Jaron Hall. We could do Jamar Chase, or we can go T
Or
Higgins.
Higgins, yeah.
Yeah, or we can go Stephon Diggs. We said that we think Diggs is going to have a bounce back week, or we can go
Well,
big
so
with DJ
why don't we
Moore.
look at kicker and defense first though, because we can only pick one from them too, right? So like
Yeah.
kicker, like a Justin Tucker, Tyler Bass. We haven't picked either of those teams yet.
Let's
Right? So those are
100%
both
go
on
Justin Tucker.
yeah, those are both on the board, and I think Tucker could be a play
Yeah.
there too. That
I
offense
love
is
that.
good but not great.
Yeah.
It could bend.
And then we can do defense Buffalo against New
Oof.
England.
I was going to say Buffalo defense is singing my name here. I just think that New England offense is just poor. So I'm saying it removes some of the other like Diggs options or other
Yeah, it
things
makes
like
our
that.
life easier.
Yeah, I just think that limits us a little, which is probably what we need.
We kind of want that. Yeah. Okay. One last pick. We can go DK Metcalf. We can go Devontae Adams. I think, maybe we do go T Higgins and just hope that
I kind of like T Higgins too. I just feel like I don't think Chase is going to play. Even if he does, there's a chance that they just use him as a distraction. And again, it's a Bengals fan and a tight end fan. This is like our perfect kind of lineup.
This is our lineup.
Yeah,
and if L'Jarius Sneed plays, then I'll switch it and I'll put in like Jefferson. So that's the squad, man. And that's how crazy a lineup you can build. Jalen Hurts, Christian McCaffrey, Kyron Williams, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, T. Higgins, the 3 tight end set, the top 3 tight ends in my rankings.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker and Buffalo defense. Although going through this, we didn't get in a we got
CMC.
Oh, we got CMC. Okay, perfect. All right. I just to make sure
we got to get a Niner. And I think CMC is the best option for sure. Purdy was in my mind too, but no, we got to go CMC.
So that's it. That's how it works. Get in there. Use promo code Coop at myffpc.com. They'll give you $25 when you deposit 35 or more. And you're going to want to make sure you're set up for the playoff challenge. I have an article coming out. I'm going to do 2 articles. One on how to, the general strategy for playoff challenge, and then one on the actual players I like when we get closer. So check that all out. myffpc.com, promo code Coop. All right, let's get back to the questions. Let's get back to the game previews. Raiders Colts. Give me a takeaway from this game. Is there anybody that you're in on or really out on that folks might have questions about here?
Well, the only player I'm in on in this entire game, is like 100%, is Jonathan Taylor. I just think that even with Michael Pittman coming back from concussion, and that was a hell of a hit. The fact that he was even maybe going to start last week. I started him in one league and didn't get to swap him out, which kind of stunk, but it's okay. It is what it is. But I lean JT for sure here. And I think, again, that Colts -3.5, I don't think I'm betting that either way. I just feel like these are 2 teams that are going to be kind of even. I like the over-under of 42.5, but I'm not betting that either. So, yeah, for me, it's just Taylor and kind of letting the ride. Maybe I do a parlay where I go crazy and I take all the points. I do that sometimes where I'll do like 4 games that I think are going to be close, and then I just take the plus just to kind of see, close games, maybe you get the points. So, yeah, that's kind of where I lean on this, but JT for sure.
Yeah. All right. I'm in on JT. Chat wants to know, let's see where we left off here. We left off with Kraft. Oh, no, Superflex. Heineke, Jarrett Stidham, or Tyrod Taylor?
I mean, this is another disgusting question, just for the record. Like, ugh, but it doesn't sound like Brissett's going to start. Like, I just saw a report, I think today, that he's uncertain. Like, they're not sure if he's going to play. Well, Heineke's. I'm sorry, that's for Atlanta. My bad.
Yeah,
Thinking the old
Atlanta.
Heineke. Well, you know what? I might go Heineke there then.
I
Yeah,
think I
that's
kind of like Heineke.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like with these, I keep thinking he's Washington, but yeah, he's in Atlanta, and I think that offense, like I just said before, that offense could get some points. So yeah, I'd
not
probably go
bad.
there.
Yeah.
I don't trust Tyrod at all. Like
Tucker Craft or Henry. Justin, you got to check back in with me on Sunday on that one. I'm going to update my rankings on Twitter, and we have multiple shows in the morning. We have to see who's playing for the Packers. I mean, if Luke Musgrave plays, I'm definitely not going to start Tucker Craft. I guess he had his like most full practice yet since lacerating his kidney, so Musgrave could play. Dontavian Wicks and Christian Watson are looking doubtful. Jaden Reed is questionable. So like too many moving parts.
who
There.
else are they going to go? Yeah,
And Henry himself might not play. So I lean Kraft if everything goes his way, but you might have to just start Henry or somebody else. Joe wants to know 12-point hole after starting Brees and Cleveland D. Best upside out of Minshew, Tyrod, Stidham, Hall, and O'Connell.
Ooh, I'd probably go Minshew. We were just talking about the Indianapolis game, I guess. Like I'd probably go Minshew just because I think that he has the most weapons available. I mean, Tyrod is hit or miss, and the Giants receivers are meh. Stidham on Denver, who I can't trust. Hall, new guy, rookie for Minnesota. Yeah, his weapons are great, but I don't know if he can even get upright to play him. And O'Connell, again, just scares me. That Las Vegas team is just weird. So I'd probably go Minshew. I mean, again, if you're in a 12-point hole, I could see the logic in saying let's shoot for the moon, and maybe I go Hall there because maybe he catches lightning in a bottle and Jefferson goes nuts, but I don't mind. 12 points isn't a ton, so I don't mind going Minshew here.
Right. And I think Michael Pittman plays. He had a full practice.
I think so
yesterday,
too. Yep.
I think he's going to play. Yeah. Bears D or Raiders D. I actually really like the Bears D this week.
Yeah, I do too.
Since they got Montez Sweat back and with Eddie Jackson, they've just been a different team, much better team than they've been before. Sure. Bears, Eagles, Rams, Chiefs, or Broncos. I've answered a lot of these. I've been saying Bears a lot, but I could be swayed. What do you think?
I think I go Rams. We were talking about Eagles, Rams before, and I mean, I'm also tempted to go Chiefs. I tend to do this to myself, where like I go against my own team because I know I'll be watching that game and really wanting it to happen. And then if it doesn't, like if the Bengals end up getting their butts kicked, hey, at least I started the Chiefs D.
At least you hedged them, yeah.
Like a hedge a bet, right? So like I don't mind that, but I probably still go Rams here. I just think again, I'm just not high at all on that Giants offense, and I'm not sitting Saquon, but I'm not happy about starting in the couple places I have him. It just makes me nervous because I just that team could be terrible this week. And I just think again with Aaron Donald, he's looking for some sort of bonus, I'm sure, and is going to be trying to get some money. So I probably go Rams out of this group, but those are all pretty good options to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last question here, clear on the deck, full PPR. Blair Davis wants to know Zeke, Chuba, Deontay Johnson, Terry McLaurin, or Cortland Sutton. So let's assume Cortland Sutton does play. What are your thoughts here? Honestly, my initial thought is honestly Zeke.
Well, so I know I figure you're probably going to say Zeke. If Sutton plays, I'm tempted to go him just because Jerry Jeudy seems like he's just checked out. And I think that offense with Stidham is just who knows what. Sutton seems like a reliable option more than the others. I don't like Chuba at all. I don't like any Panthers right now. Like I don't want anything to do with that team. I am telling people to start Chuba in certain cases. I see the logic in Zeke over Chuba. So I would say if Sutton plays, probably him. And if he doesn't, probably Zeke, unfortunately. Yeah. Those are all kind of, I hate saying that too because they're disgusting. I like Zeke. But I love Deontay. I love McLaurin. Just they're not consistent enough.
I think Zeke has been great, man. And he gets the targets, man. So that's where I'm going. Derek snuck one in here. 10 team half PPR, 2 flex, pick 2. Eckler, Aaron Jones, CEH, Higgins, Jaden Reed. So good players. Jaden Reed, he's got the toe issue. I don't know. I'm a little wary on that. I would probably go away from Reed with those options.
I would too. And I think if Pacheco plays, I'm away from CEH. I'm smashing Higgins with or without Chase. I think Higgins is in for me. Jones Eckler is a tricky one. I probably go Aaron Jones just because Eckler has been so underwhelming. And that team with Easton Stick, like I just don't know what they're going to do. They could hand the ball to Isaiah Spiller 30 times for all we know. So I hate saying that because I love Eckler. But I probably go Higgins and Jones unless Pacheco's out, and then I go Higgins and ZH.
Yeah. So we
feels dirty.
Yeah, it's rough with Eckler. I mean, It's crazy, but he did get better usage once they fired Brandon Staley. So
that's true.
I think I probably would lean Eckler. So we did. Toronto Dave at the start of the show set the over under at 6.5 games. We got through 6.
Yeah, I know. It's a good over-under, Dave.
He set the line well. We got very close, and we were actually going kind of rapid fire, but we have a lot of questions. It's
ton of questions. I'd rather answer questions. Yeah, those are much more specific. Yeah,
exactly. So why don't you real quick tell everybody what you got going on, where they can find you, and then I'll just, right up to the wire, I'll ask you some questions on these last games and we'll get you out of here. So I just want to make sure, first and foremost, you have the time. We're not rushing you out.
Love it.
Tell everybody what you got going on, where they can find your stuff, and where they can follow you on Twitter.
Sure thing. Yeah. So you can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Hall FF. Do Dynasty Junkies. We're probably taking a break about a month or so. Usually in January, we take some time off again just to kind of rest and recover from the exhausting season that is.
Wow.
So you can find us at Dynasty Junkies on there. Of course, we'll have to have you on again, Coop, talking tight ends. You can also find me writing on Fantasy Pros. I do an article there. Usually during the off season, it's like 1 a month, 2 a month for Dynasty related stuff. So I'll still be writing there, I'm sure. And, chiming in here and there wherever you need me on Twitter. But yeah, that's generally where I'm at, is Junkies and the Pros. That's where I'm at.
Awesome, man. I love your stuff over there, dude. And again, you guys have a great audience, dude, and you serve them well. Like, you guys in the chat, we obviously weigh in on every question you have, but if you have like real crazy deep dynasty questions where it's like you need help revamping it, you need like real deep questions, like where you want to post your entire roster and somebody else's entire roster, they get in there and dig that out, dude. So it's
our Find Me a Trade segment is great.
Find Me a Trade segment. That's what I'm talking about. You can
submit that on it's our pinned tweet, right? You can go in there and submit your entire league.
Submit your whole league.
And say, okay, well, if I had this team, what trade would I make next? We get into some of the weeds. You've seen it. Like some of those segments are 20, 30 minutes long sometimes, where we just kind of go nuts. Right. A lot of good discussion points for sure. So yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah. So I want to ask on a couple of these games that are just close, like Packers, Vikings, 1.5 point spread. There's implications on the game. Who wins that game right now with all the moving parts? You got to pick a winner.
If I had to pick a winner, I'm picking Packers, even though both teams are kind of like limping along at this point and are not 100%. But yeah, I probably lean Packers.
Yeah, there's so many teams that are 7-8 or 8-7 where like this week is everything. Here's a big one: Saints Buccaneers, 2.5 point spread. Winner of this, has a chance to
as the division, right?
As a division, or looking very good. Obviously, you still got to deal with the Falcons to some degree, but that one could end up being for a home playoff game. So Saints Bucks. Which team do you think is just not even just winning this game, but which team do you think is actually the better team that could potentially do some damage in the playoffs?
Well, it sounds odd, but Baker Mayfield makes me think it's the Bucks. Honestly, he's played lights out the last 5 or 6 weeks even, and just been very consistent. Mike Evans is still there. I don't know what happened to Chris Godwin. It feels like he disappeared.
But he came back. I think it might have been the injuries, because I think he's coming back on a little bit. Perhaps a little too late to trust. Too late to trust, right? Yeah, that happens sometimes. But he was dealing with multiple injuries. He had a knee and an elbow and a neck issue. So but I guess it's like, maybe too late to trust now.
Yeah, when Rachaad White's still good. And again, nothing against Olave. I like him a lot in Dynasty, but I think that team needs a new quarterback. And I don't think it's Taysom Hill. I don't think it's Derek Carr, right? Like they need somebody that's a straightforward quarterback that gets the job done. This plug and play stuff they're doing, it's too gimmicky. I don't think it's going to work that much longer, if at all, even already. So yeah, I like Buccaneers. And again, they're the home team, only favored by 2.5. So that kind of makes me feel like Vegas is sort of hedging on the Saints a little here. Usually get that 3-point bump. So, and again, over under a 42.5, that game could be high scoring. So that's what I'm actually looking at for the over under being the over bet.
Right. And you know what, to your point about the quarterback, like there are going to be some guys out there now all of a sudden, especially if these teams are re-rolling, like Justin Fields, maybe Kyler Murray's out there. Obviously, we've been told Russell Wilson will be out there. Some of these teams that are closer, like both Falcons and the Falcons and the Saints, like maybe Russell Wilson would be a difference maker for them. I don't know. Hard to say. Yeah, we'll see. But hey, anyway, that's it for us. Thank you guys in the chat for joining. Hall, thank you so much for coming on. Tony, thank you behind the glass. Everybody, good luck this week. And if you have more questions, I know we got a lot of moving parts. Starting at 9 a.m. on this channel, it's going to be Britt Flynn, John and Pemba, 9 to 10. Then it's 10 to 11, Howard Bender and I on Sirius XM. Call in over there. And if you can't get through, I'm jumping on right after that on this channel, 11 to noon. And we're not leaving until all the questions are answered. So we'll go right up to 1 if we have to. So thank you guys out there. See you guys on